Thank you for having me. I'm delighted to be here. And I think it's very fitting that this meeting is held in the Guild Hall, the building originally built by manufacturers and exporters from this area. And I'd encourage you to read the history of the building. At the front door, there's a statue of Queen Victoria, pride of place in the front door, but she's damaged by a bomb attack. And we didn't hide it, we didn't fix it. She's kept there as a celebration and an acknowledgement of her history. So I think it's a very fitting place to have organised your event, and thank you for having me. Please don't copy what I'm going to say today. Not because I don't want to share it, I'm delighted to share it, but if you copy it, you'll get it wrong. Treat this like the Carvery at the Drummond, and go in and take the parts that apply to you. Take your favourite bits. Don't take it all, okay? It's the principles behind this message that I want you to go away with. Our company, Seating Matters, makes clinical chairs for people with disabilities, chairs for people like Billy. And Billy was in a care home not too far from here, and he was in the Navy, and he had been to every port in the world. But he's in this care home, and he's got a fantastic view of his own toes and the floor because he suffers from a kyphosis. So we got a chair for Billy, which supports the curvature of his spine and helps him to sit in a lovely position where he can see around the room and interact with other people. We make chairs for people like this lady, who is actually able to walk. You can see she's got a walking frame here at the side, but she's sliding out of her chair. She's going to end up with sores on her heels, sores on her pelvis, sores perhaps in the back of her head, because the chair's not appropriate for her. You look at the fear in that lady's face. But we make chairs like this, which really transforms that person's life. And we're transforming lives to get in hospitals, in care homes, and in the community all over the world. And because we've had such an impact on people's lives, our company has grown quite well in the last few years. This is my mother's house. This is where we started working, in this little building. We did clinical research and we expanded our company, and we built on a wee bit on the top. Those are Crea concrete slabs. Just shout out to the Crea team. And we built on a little bit again, and then we built on a little bit again, and then we built on a little bit again, and a little bit again. And like most businesses in this room, we just kept going and kept going as much as we could. We expanded around the world, and it was great. We were hiring more people, and from the outside, it looked fantastic. But on the inside, we felt more like that. Because back home in the factory, it was a bit of a mess. It was dark and gloomy and problem after problem after problem. We had stock coming out of our ears. We had suppliers that delivered us defected products, and then we had to go and rework all those products. We had a bundle of work on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then on a Thursday, Friday, we had all the stock sitting that was incomplete because a delivery went wrong. The place was a mess. We used to come in on Saturdays and clean up with snow shovels. And we had all this stock, but it was the wrong stock. The stuff we needed wasn't there. Key members of staff left or died. This is my father on the left, he died. And we couldn't replace them. Production stopped for weeks and weeks and weeks because that person was doing a key part of the job. Half the people showed up late, and the other half didn't show up at all. And our recruitment process was a little bit like this. Great company in Limavady, we're hiring, come and work for us. And nobody applied for the job. And then we said, we'll go a little bit more direct. We're hiring, come and work for us. And still nobody applied. And it's like, please come and work for us. Please. And somehow we always get a good chair out the door. But at what cost? Look in the background, it's just chaos. And you'd come in and clean up on a Saturday and get ready for another hectic week of chair making on a Monday morning. And we thought to ourselves, look, there has to be a better way. There has to be a better way to do this. And if you come to Seating Matters today, it's a beautiful, clean, shiny workplace. It's highly organized, it's color-coded. We've got this beautiful Kanban system in place where we never run out of a single part. Haven't run out of parts in maybe 4 years. With these lovely workplace cells, the work is easy and fun, and people are coming up with creative ways to make it better. And when we put out a job advert, we get dozens and dozens and dozens of applicants for every single job. We've designed new products faster than we've ever done before and better than we've ever done before, and we've actually won a Red Dot Design Award for that. And Darren McLaughlin's brother's in the room, his brother, so Darren McLaughlin is the lead designer in this, and he's going to Germany to accept a Red Dot Award on our behalf. We hold these crazy morning meetings at Sitting Matters where we have visitors come from around the world to see what we're doing. And we started to do tours. This guy visited us from Alberta, Canada. This company came from St. Louis, Missouri. We have this vivid vision to grow our company into the future, and we've actually bought another factory in Campsie to allow us to expand into that. That's the vision of what that'll look like after it's refurbished. And we've been asked to host the Global Lean Leadership Summit in September of this year, where 2 executives from Toyota, one from Japan and one from Georgetown, Kentucky, are actually coming to Limavady to learn about manufacturing from us. Now, this is Toyota. You know, we're not worthy to tie their shoes, but somehow they're coming to us. And how did we do that? How did we go from this nightmare scenario where we were cleaning the place up with snow shovels to this and having the Global Lean Leadership Summit at Sitting Matters? I'm going to tell you how. We came up with this really, really, really incredibly sophisticated plan, right? Now, don't record this, please, and don't share this outside the room, because this is so clever. This is ingenious. We went home at night, and we looked up on YouTube, how do you run a factory? You're welcome. Thank you. And we came across this guy called Paul Akers, who's the author of 2 Second Lean, and he said, look, don't worry about it. Get in a plane and come to Japan. Everything's going to be okay. So we booked a flight, went to Japan, and we got a brain transplant. Because from the minute we stepped off the plane, you go down the escalator in the airport, every single person standing on the left-hand side. When you get to the train, they're standing in this lovely wee orderly queue to get onto the train and allowing space for the other people to get off the train. Imagine that. They have so much respect for the passengers that they bow to every single passenger that gets off the train and bow to every single passenger that gets on the train. The taxi driver has so much respect for the passenger, he doesn't want them to have to reach out to touch the handle in case someone else might have touched that before and it might be dirty. So the door in the taxi opens itself and closes itself automatically. And this is like a 1980 Toyota Crown car. They have so much respect for us in the hotel that the people behind the reception came out from behind the reception, lifted our bags, turned them on the side, and cleaned the wheels of the suitcase so that we wouldn't bring dirt into the hotel, so that our suitcases would be clean when we brought them into our bedrooms. This deep, deep level of respect. The bus driver, I came out to get my phone, and he was cleaning the brake lights of the bus with a toothbrush so that his visitors would have a lovely experience. And then we went to this primary school. And when you go in, it's tradition, take your shoes off, the outside dirty shoes, and you put on these indoor shoes. Now, that's how the children left the shoes for us. That's how we left the shoes when we're finished. And the Japanese children, before they eat their lunch, they give thanks for the life that was given in order for me to eat this food. And what they mean by that is they have a really deep understanding that that fish had to be fished out of the sea, the plants had to be raised, it had to be transported to a factory, someone had to go to work to earn the money, to buy the food in the supermarket, to bring it home, to cook it, to set it on my plate. So why would I waste it? Why would I throw that away? That would be the most terrible waste in the world. They give thanks for the effort that went to making that food. And look at the effect of that. This is the end of the school children's lunchtime. Every single speck of food has been eaten. And now the children are going to the front of the classroom, putting the plates back in the dish, and 2 of the children from that class will take that away and they'll wash those dishes and put them away, while the other children in the class are down on their hands and knees along with the teacher and the principal, cleaning the classroom, cutting the grass, polishing the windows. Amazing people. I have 3 children of my own, and my children in their school behave a little more like this. So there's no sound there, but what they're saying is, when you're done with all this lovely food, bring your food to the share table, and you put the...
This special food waste sorting table. You'll set down the tray and sort all the stuff on it into 2 barrels. The first one is for stuff that pigs can eat. The second barrel is for stuff that pigs can't eat. How do you know which is which? If you can eat it, they can eat it.
We're so wasteful. And they're so appreciative of their resources. And they're appreciative of their culture. They've got these beautiful temples. They're more traditional than we are, but they're much more modern than we are. This in Tokyo, and there's a wooden temple that we went to visit. They deconstruct the temple every 20 years and rebuild it again so that the next generation will know how to build the temple. Phenomenal. And going down the street, people are wearing traditional Japanese dress. You know, they have this deep respect for their history and their culture. And it's not just in Japan. When they leave the country, they bring that with them. You've seen that at the World Cup. They clean up the stadiums, keep the place in order. The bathrooms in Japan, the roadside motorway services are cleaner than the bathroom in any one of your houses. You know that for a fact. The country looks like it was finished yesterday. All the road markings are perfect, the trees are perfect, the cars are clean. There's more noise in this room right now than there is in the center of Tokyo at 9 o'clock in the morning. Unbelievable. They've built one of the best cities in the world and one of the top countries in the world. But only 70 years ago, that's what Tokyo looked like. That's Japan after the Second World War. And they have built this incredible economy out of the ruins of Second World War. Well, how did they do that? Again, back to their tradition. They looked at this old Japanese technique of kintsugi. Does anyone know kintsugi? It's where they take broken pottery and they repair it with gold. And I love this quote. They make the pottery more beautiful than it ever was before. That the flaw is a unique part of the object's history, and that makes it even more beautiful. So they said, yes, there's lots of things that went wrong during the Second World War, but let's take the best of our culture and traditions and our people and our energy, and let's build something magnificent. Actually, let's set aside our differences that we had with the Americans, and this is General MacArthur and Emperor Hirohito standing side by side saying, let's rebuild Japan. Let's get the best economists from America, the best architects from France, the best teachers from England. Let's bring them all together. Let's have all the different pillars of influence in society together in one room, and let's chart a way that we can go forward together. Much like manufacturing NI are doing, bringing the best of ideas together in one room to encourage people to work together to a better future. And they said, let's stop this focus on production. Let's change it to a focus on quality. We'll not brush the problems under the carpet. What we're going to do is take that American philosophy from the Newport News shipbuilding. Let's build good ships. At a profit if we can, at a loss if we must, but we will build good ships. And they started to do this just as the Western world were forgetting that. And then the Toyota family, they took that to the nth degree. We had the pleasure of visiting a factory where that guy, Mr. Toyota, built and installed and trained people in using these looms. And they started to manufacture and export these looms. under the or under the assumption that they will get better and better and better by continuous improvement, that Kaizen. And Toyota believed in Kaizen so much, they knew it was like the eighth wonder of the world, that they actually changed the name of their company from Toyoda to Toyota. And the significance of that is, in the Japanese script, to write Toyoda, you need these two extra wee lines up here. You can tell I'm a fluent Japanese speaker. These wee lines. to write Toyota, take the two lines off, and that is only 8 strokes to do this. This takes 10 strokes. So Toyoda, to a Japanese ear, sounds complete, 10 out of 10. Toyota is an 8 out of 10. And it's an acknowledgement that we're okay, but we're not good enough yet. Toyota itself is 8 out of 10. Amazing humility. And they started making their first car by banging sheets of metal over a rock, and then they banged them over a wooden frame. And today, they are the best manufacturer of any type of device anywhere in the world. Unbelievable country and company. What they did then is they took another philosophy of Yokoten, and they said, let's share the ideas across society. Let's bring Honda and Mitsubishi and Nissan into our factory and teach them what we're doing. Again, like manufacturing NI, let's take the best of the ideas in this room and share them with each other, because we'll all benefit as a result of that. And Japan took construction companies, and this is a road building project that we went to visit, where the site was immaculate. Everything was just perfect. The steel markings, every wee van had chocks on it. They did stretches in the morning. They wore white uniforms while they're tying steel, because they wanted to see where the dirt would come from. I wear black trousers because I can't take a cup of tea without spilling it all over myself. Toyota invented things like this here, truck, so that you don't have to pull open a curtain side. That opens itself, so the driver's not stressed and they can load and unload with ease. And this is a company, Mifune. They're a really excellent company. Again, so much deep respect for us. The owner and his son waved and stood waving until our bus was out of sight. They wanted us to have a great experience. And in their factory, that's just phenomenal. This focus on quality. This is a guy lifting a part off a shelf. Now, contrast this with the last time that you went to the shop. My wife says, "Did you buy milk last night?" And I went to get green milk, and I bought blue milk, and I was home before I realized I had the wrong thing. Look at this guy picking a part off the shelf. He takes the order, checks it against the shelf, takes the order, checks it against the box, lifts out the box, lifts the part, checks it against the standard work to make sure it's exactly the right thing, checks it again against the paperwork, and then he puts it in the box. It was 845 days since that guy made a mistake at work. 845 days. If that was sitting matters, that would mean 845. It's the last time we made a mistake. They're this finely tuned orchestra, all playing this incredibly complex instruments, pulling together this amazing symphony. And then we went back to sitting matters, and we're like, oh God, we're like monkeys banging stones together. We said, what now? What do we do now? And like we said, Paul Akers, like, you know, how do you ever go back and replicate what Toyota did? And he says, look at the front cover of the book. What does it say? How to grow people and build a lean culture. A fun, lean culture. But grow and develop people. And that's what we did. We decided to use the best abilities of our people and make a daily commitment to teaching and training everyone at Seaton Matters. So every single morning since 2016, we have spent the first hour of the day teaching and training the staff at Seaton Matters. So at 7:55, everyone comes for a morning meeting, and we'll do a video on the John Deere plant in Iowa. We'll look at, you know, study a book on something else, and then we spend the next 30 minutes improving what we do. So this is one of our all-hands meetings. We'll talk about our DNA. This is how we get people into the business. If you're a new start, we want people that are driven by growth, that will never give up and have a servant's heart. And then once they're in the business, we teach every day on our principles. This is how we want people to behave. We'll take Japanese concepts or some of the training things that they have in the Lexus plant, and we'll teach people on that every day. We have book clubs that we study, and every single person in the company has read multiple books since they started. Some people come in at 7 o'clock in the morning and study early. We'll maybe look at a concept like total ownership. We'll talk about that for a full month. And the result is that the people in Seating Matters are more and more confident in their job, that they're actually holding tours for people that are visiting from around the world, and developing and growing themselves with the object of making ourselves a little more Japanese, you could say. And we bring that home as well. Konnichiwa, they're saying. Those are my 3 children. We talk about fix what bugs you. So we don't do university lean where you go and get a PhD in whatever with this big textbook. We boil it down to the very simple, fix what bugs you. What annoyed you yesterday? Well, take the first hour and fix that today. And we put the improvements into WhatsApp. And these are some of the improvements that have happened just over the last few days. Listen to Paddy's language as he's saying that. He's talking about visual control. He's talking about fix what bugs you, a place for everything, everything in its place. And what bugged him most was someone borrowed his drill and didn't know where it went back to. Look how organized that is. There's no guesswork there. And the great thing is, Paddy created that himself. It wasn't him going to his manager and his manager going to his manager and saying, yes, you have authorization to go out to the design team and ask them to do such and such to make you. None of that. Paddy's the expert, so let Paddy at it. Another improvement is like a Stream Deck improvement that I found on our WhatsApp. So instead of going clicking and clicking and clicking and clicking through your computer to find a document, the thing that you need most urgently is right there at your fingertips. Simple, 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 low-hanging fruit. Things that the people in your company could pick up on tomorrow. And we put all these into a WhatsApp group, and this is our WhatsApp from a few days ago. Dozens and dozens and dozens of improvements every single day. So everyone is taking the initiative and has the autonomy to change their own processes. Go and change that up and make it better because you know best. Everyone has the authority to come up with their own idea, to take action on it, and to test it themselves. They get to the end, and they say, that was brilliant. Now I've got a better idea. Let's do it better the next time. And you have this positive cycle where people are coming up with better and better and better ideas all the time that's self-regulating. And people come on tours to Seating Matters to see this, and the Lean Summit that I mentioned is the physical kind of manifestation of the 6, 7, 8 years that we've been doing that. And that's how Japan was rebuilt after the Second World War. That's how Toyota came to dominate the car industry. But look at Japan versus Northern Ireland. We're actually not that different. We've got a pretty young population. We're an island nation with no natural resources. Everything has to be imported. We've got a big neighbour off to one side that we've got an on-again, off-again relationship with. We've got very, very strong cultural traditions and very strong religious convictions that we hold very dear. And yes, we've got a history of extreme conflict. But what Japan did is they said, let's park the past and let's work forward for the improvement of our country. They pulled together those pillars of society and said, what will it take for Japan to be this shining light to the world in manufacturing, in industry, in quality of life, in life expectancy, the third largest economy in the world? There's great power in that. There's great power in this event today and events like it. Surely we could take the broken pieces of our history and put them together in a way that will make it even more beautiful than the past that went before us. We as a country have got a shining example in Japan of how to do this and what to do. All we have to do is make our own version of what they've done. And in our companies, we've got an example up the road in Seaton Matters that you're welcome to come and visit on how to do that at your own level in your own business. So the biggest gap in the world is between that which we know and that which we do. We have the examples there of how to make a better future for ourselves, but what will you do? Thank you. Well, my brother Ryan loves lean. He eats, breathes, sleeps it day and night. And if you asked him that question, what he'd say is that he filled himself up with so much knowledge that it was overflowing out of him. And what we did wrong at the start is we tried to implement it without really understanding what we were doing. So Ryan filled himself up with so much knowledge that it exuded out of his very pores. And then when we had a challenge or had a roadblock with it, he was saying, no, I understand, because this is what we need to do, this we need to try. So learning and studying first, and then applying it in small ways, very simple things. We didn't hold a morning meeting with Japanese stretches on day one. We didn't go around and start bowing to each other. We said, fix what bugged you yesterday at work? What problem did we have? And how could we give you resources, time, money, energy, people to fix your problem from yesterday? So that's really the basis of it. The underpinnings of Japanese society is respect. They've got this deep level of respect for their food. They've got deep level of respect for the teacher. But the teacher also has a deep level of respect for the student. And that's where it starts. Someone said about women in the workforce. I challenge you, go back and look at the women's toilets in your factory. Maybe you don't have one. Maybe it's in the office, so the women feel different than the men. So what we did at Seaton Matters is we said, we deeply respect everyone here at Seaton Matters. So the first practical thing we did is we demolished our toilets and we rebuilt the toilets. And we spent a good bit of money on it, and they're nice bathrooms. And for the first 6 months, we bought fresh flowers every week for the 3 different toilets in Seaton Matters. And in the first week, my mother cleaned all the toilets. And the next week, my brother Jonathan, then my brother Ryan, then myself, and then my sister Louise. And then back to my mother, Jonathan, Ryan, Martin, Louise. And this went on for 6 months. And then people were like, hold on a second. These toilets are cleaner than any toilet in any hotel in the country. And then they're like, Martina, I'll get that for you next week. I'll do the toilets next week. So today at Seaton Matters, every single person cleans the toilet. It's part of our culture. Every single person cleans the toilet. Because why would I go into the bathroom, make a mess, and then walk out and expect somebody else to do it? It's the same as going in, making a shoddy chair and saying, should the patient be dead on, they'll be all right. So the deep level of respect for resources, for people, for our colleagues, starts with the bathroom, and that's why everyone cleans the toilets. is a phenomenal book. It's about 50 pages. It's 50% pictures, which is great for somebody like me. Such an easy book to read and understand. And we bought a copy for every single person in Seaton Matters. Everyone has read the book. Everyone has studied the book. We spent a week per chapter. Now, a chapter is 3 pages. We spent a week per chapter going over that book. And people that couldn't read, people that had never read in their life, people that speak a different language. But we took a week per chapter. That was the first thing. And then we just went to see where else is doing this. And back then there was no one like Caterpillar or F.G. Wilson's or places, Coca-Cola, like places like that do continuous improvement initiatives, but it's totally unrelatable to us up the Carnamuff Road in Ballykelly with 50 people. We couldn't relate to that at all. It's like trying to copy what Toyota are doing today. That doesn't work. So we looked for companies around our size, 50 or 100 people, and found a great company in Idaho, a great company in outside Berlin, a good company in England, and then Japan, obviously, a lot of that. And we brought it back and we made it suitable to Limavady and made it suitable to our people, adapted it to fit ourselves. We threw away a lot of the terminology and we stuck with the core principles of respect and fix what bugs you and continued from there. But that leads me on to tours. So we do tours, and a lot of people in this room have been on tours. Our motivation for that is we have this, like a secret sauce in Seaton Matters that we don't want to be a secret. We want everybody else to benefit from it. And the lean community is a very generous community. Like Toyota invite Honda into their factory to learn from them. So kind of part of our tradition would be on and off, shut the gate and don't let anybody in, don't tell them what we're at. But we wanted to flip that on its head and open the doors and have people to come in and learn from us. In short, no, because the patient in a hospital or the intensive care nurse in a hospital doesn't really care that much about how the chair got to them. They want the chair to be there and they want it to be appropriate to meet the clinical needs of that patient. So we focus on the clinical benefits, and we do a lot of research and academic partnerships into our product and how it's effective for various medical conditions. We don't really talk about the manufacturing story to the patient because of the type of customer that we have. Now, our distributors value it. The distributor we have in Australia, for example, he went to Japan with us and visited Toyota with us because he sees the effect on his business. If we're more efficient, if we're more lean, if we're continuously improving, we're taking his problems and we're working on those to solve them for him. But the patient at the end of the line, doesn't care that much about what goes on inside the factory. And Toyota as well, if you look at a Toyota advert, it doesn't say Toyota, the most efficient car manufacturer in the world. It says Toyota, the drive of your life, or something like that, or it'll show you a nice family going out for a picnic. What's value to the patient is no pressure ulcers, is being able to get up out of bed, is not sliding and falling. So we talk about what's value to them. But in order to provide them value, we're trying to add value in the factory. Yeah, so again, it's atypical. It's not maybe how other people would do it. So first, we'll advertise the job, and you'll see 3 responses there, 50 respondents, 75 respondents, 100 respondents. And it's a very clear process. So first, send us your CV. So we'll get maybe 75 people send in a CV. We don't read any of them, right? They go straight to the bin. Automatic reply straight away, which says, thanks very much for sending your CV. That's brilliant. You're through to the next stage. Please send us a 60-second video by WhatsApp in landscape telling us why you'd like to come and work at Seaton Matters. So it goes from 75 respondents down to about 30 or 25. And very quickly we watch the video and see that person's enthusiastic, that person's energetic, that person's incredibly nervous, but look at the effort that she made. This person, you can tell they've never used WhatsApp before, they've never done a video before, but they got their husband to go and hold the camera and do the video for them. Then bring them to an interview. We'll bring them after that, another day, to a morning meeting where they come up and see us doing stretches in front of each other and think that we're mad. Maybe we are. And then in some cases, we'll actually get people to come and do a work day at Seaton Matters. We'll pay them for the day to come and work in Seaton Matters, and we'll ask the 3 or 4 people that are working with them, do you think that person's a good fit? So that's our process. Works really well for us. It means that we've got a strong culture that's building. And people come in and already they're at 60 mile an hour with our culture because the process is weeding out people that aren't aligned to the culture. And the result is we have absolutely no problem hiring people. You know, it's the accumulation of all of those efforts over years, and the process is part of it. But the struggle that every other manufacturer has about not being able to find people, keep people, attract people, it's just not a problem that we have. Now, we have tons of problems. We have dozens and dozens and dozens of problems. Owen's in the back of the room that works with me, and he'll tell you some of our problems. But we don't have the problems of not finding people, people turning up late, people not being respectful, people dirtying the place, people not being nice to the customer. All those low-level problems are gone. The culture sorts that, and then we can focus on the really good problems.